to the Oroville City Council meeting, January 3rd, 2017. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Berry.
Here.
Councilmember Del Rosario. Yes. Councilmember Hatley.
Here.
Councilmember Pittman.
Here.
Councilmember Simpson. Here. Vice Mayor Chan Wilcox.
Here.
Mayor Dahlmeyer.
Here. We will convene to closed session. Welcome everybody to the Oroville City Council meeting, January 3rd, 2017. Thank you all for coming this evening. We are back from closed session, no action taken and direction given. We have a lot of youngsters in the crowd this evening. Who would like to come forward and help me with the Pledge of Allegiance? Any takers? Awesome.
There's one.
All right, well, I'm going to come down there with you then. Come on down. What's your name?
Gregory.
Gregory. Thank you for coming. Do you know the pledge?
Yeah.
Good. Who else wants to join me? Come on. Come on. Any kids? Any kids? Any kids? Come on.
Okay, I got it.
All right. Do we have all the kids up here that want to help? All right. Who wants to hold? One more. Sorry, Gregory. You're handsome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Look, we match too. Look at that. You got red. You got black. Okay. All right. Who wants to hold the microphone? Okay, you go right ahead.
One more coming
Oh,
up.
we have some more. Awesome.
All right.
Okay, here you go. Salute. Salute.
Salute.
Pledge.
Pledge. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republics from which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before you go, I have a couple questions. Why are you here this evening?
I don't know.
You don't. Is somebody that you know going to be a city council member? Okay, that's all right. I am so happy that you're here. Why are you here?
Because I love the family.
Awesome. Oh, that was sweet. And why are you here?
To support Janet Goodson.
Awesome. Look at you. Say hi. 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 And what brings you here?
To support the community.
Awesome. Are you going to be a city council member when you grow up?
Maybe.
Mayor?
Maybe.
Good. And what brings you here?
My grandma, Linda Draper.
Awesome.
Yeah, Draper.
Can you say, I love my grandma? No? Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Wait, I got to come back and do the consent calendar first. I was moving on to the proclamations. Okay. This is always a fun evening, and it's always nice to see people here and positive attitudes and cookies and coffee. We should do that more often. Moving on to the consent calendar, we're going to move item number 3 down to regular business. So with item number 3 moved, you have the approval of the minutes on December 20th and the canvassing of votes, which is item number 2. Any questions or comments, or looking for a motion?
I move that we accept the minutes.
I'll second that.
Voting's open. All votes are in. Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
Thank you. Okay. So now it's time for the oath of office of the newly elected council members. We'll do it randomly. Janet Goodson.
Yeah.
So here, I'm going to give you one to read. And then I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read it, and you're going to repeat after me, okay? So you want to raise your right hand. Say, I, Janet Jackson. Can you? Oh, excuse me. Okay, let's start over. Let's do that one. Can we start over? Okay.
Madam Mayor, I feel obliged to mention that this is being video and audio recorded.
Yeah, well, you know what? We know how to have fun down here, so. Super Huber. Okay, so it's I, Janet Goodson.
I, Janet Goodson.
That's right. Do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of California,
and the Constitution of the
State
State
of
of
California.
California,
That I will take this obligation freely
that I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter
upon which I am about to enter
for the city of Oroville.
for the city of Oroville.
You are now a sworn city council member. We'll sign these. I'm going to do the other two, and you still have a chance. You want your plaque right now? Here, you have this one. You want to say a
Yes.
couple words while I'm signing?
I consider it an honor and a privilege to be a servant of the city of Oroville.
Way to go, JR. All right, JR. Beautiful, beautiful, sir. Beautiful, JR.
right. We have Linda Draper.
Yeah!
You can read it right here. This one we'll be doing. So raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Linda Draper, do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter for the city of Oroville. You are so duly sworn. Congratulations. I'm going to sign these. Would you like to say a couple words while I'm doing my signature?
Well, I am humbled by this opportunity, and I'll have to tell you I had a queasy stomach all day. And I was fine for 2 months, and then it's like, oh my gosh, it's really here. And I'm going to do my very best to represent everyone in town and to do my due diligence in preparing for meetings, and I will work hard and do my very best. And thank you for the opportunity.
So right there. I didn't call you Jackson.
Yeah.
I know. There's yours. And last but not least, Scott Thompson.
Yeah!
This is your copy. I'm glad, I'm really glad that everybody wore their reading glasses, because there's been a couple of times people get up here and they can't read it. So,
I'll do my best not to mumble.
Speak slowly. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Scott Thompson,
I, Scott Thompson,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution
that I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter
for the city of Oroville.
for the city of Oroville.
You're so duly sworn. Congratulations.
I'm just really looking forward to what God, or what is a new day, what God has for our town, and what
this town's going to be. It's a new day. It's a new chapter for Oroville, and I'm looking forward to it. I know we got a lot of things ahead of us, a lot of difficult challenges to make, but it's going to be a good season. It's going to be a great season for Oroville. And I think I can speak freely for all of us and know that we're all looking forward to it. We're not afraid of the challenges, and it's going to be a good day for us all. How's that? Amen. All right.
I don't know about you, but is it warm in here? Yes. Gosh. Can we turn the heater off or up or down? Liz, do you know how to work that? Somebody doing it? Maybe we could open that back door. All right. Okay, let's see if I can get through this next part. Okay, so as the outgoing council members, we do have a proclamation for them and a small gift, but this is going to be really hard for me. Because I've served with all of these people for the 6 years that I've been here. And if, I kind of was trying to put some words to what I wanted to say or how I wanted to say it, but it was like being in the Emerald City, like the Wizard of Oz. And I was, I was Dorothy when I came along, and if it weren't for these 3 people here, I don't know that I would have made it. So I'll start with David, my David Pittman. So David had a reputation of being a pretty big, gruff guy. And I still remember one of the first things that I asked of David, and he came off a few years of some rough council activity. There was a lot of controversy, and there was a lot of turmoil and loud voices, but it wasn't my style. And I pulled David aside, and I asked him to do me a favor. And I said, Dave, I'm counting on you. And I said, I need you to be my strong, silent, respectful man up here. And he filled those shoes. Never raised his voice. Never got angry. Always had a smile on his face, and I would think of him like the Cowardly Lion, but the reality is he's really, he's the brain. He's like this, he's got a brain. He knows everything. I call him my elephant. So if you want to know anything about Oroville, it's Dave Pittman, and he knows everything. So with that said, David, I appreciate everything and all the years that I served with you. So I'm going to read this proclamation, and thank you for your dedication. Proclamation recognizing and the appreciation of David Pittman, whereas David Pittman has dedicated his life to the community of Oroville with distinction, demonstrating his willingness to place his concern for the public's well-being ahead of his personal interest. Whereas David's performance of the duties and responsibilities of a member of the City Council have been characterized by excellence and the constructive contributions to all facets of the municipal government in our city. Whereas David has worked faithfully and tirelessly for the betterment of the city's economics, public safety, infrastructure, and aesthetic development. And whereas David has earned the admiration and high regard for all those with whom he has come into contact, and with respect of his fellow public servants. And whereas David has provided effective regional and citywide leadership on issues facing the city of Oroville and has been instrumental in numerous citywide projects. Whereas David's commitment to the city and the community is evident given his years of service to the public. Now therefore I, Linda Dahlmeyer, Mayor of the City of Oroville, in concurrence with the Oroville City Council, do hereby recognize David W. Pittman for his loyal and dedicated service to the community of Oroville and extend this expression of pride and appreciation for the contributions made by David to ensure the future growth and prosperity of the city of Oroville. Signed, today. You didn't wrap it? Is he supposed to open it now?
Well, I'd like just to present them to him. If I could just take one moment, and I'm going to say some kind words. I try not to too often, but I will tonight. Councilman Pittman is the one person that I've actually been able to work with, around, and for. He was actually here when I was actually doing real police work and not being the police chief. He was being dressed up like a fireman every day as the fire chief. I mean, so I'm very proud to have worked with him. He's been a friend, a mentor, confidant, somebody I could go to and ask questions about the fire service because I have no real expertise in fire other than I know wet stuff puts out red stuff. Dave has a lot more extensive knowledge than that of me. I just have to say thank you. He took a chance on me almost 7 years ago now, and they made me the police chief. So thank you very much for doing that. I hope I've made you proud. I'll continue to work there, try to make you proud every day. You've also exemplified to me what does it mean to really care about Oroville. I mean, every decision you've made has been with the best of intention for Oroville, and that is the one thing that I will take from you and that I will learn and try to carry forward. The one thing I didn't learn from you was brevity, so I will quit talking now and just give you these gifts. That is just a couple of gifts from the staff to show our appreciation for your effort and from the council. To remember your time here and to keep you warm during the winter, we also got you a nice jacket with the city emblem on it and your name.
Thanks, sir. You know, he's speaking a lot because 20 years ago, if you'd have told me I was a fireman and I was going to vote for a cop to become the head of the fire department, you could have beat me with a stick and I would have survived it. But this gentleman here, I did vote for him because of him, not because of what I thought from the service. But lo and behold, I do have a statement, and it's a statement that I'd like to read real quickly. I appreciate all the accolades, and I appreciate my fellow council members. But after serving 2 terms on the city council, it's been my privilege to serve the citizens of Oroville with the following accomplishments. In the last 8 years, in very brief summary, I'd like to mention that, and like Ms. Bunker, the back, a fellow councilman from the past, the interesting thing is Simpson and Wilcox and I were served the 2 terms together, so we have to take credit for some of these things I'm going to mention. But one item, well, many items, but final solution to the Oroville Inn facility as celebrated and opened this month. Nobody has an old hotel that has got to be turned into something beautiful and magnificent for a city. That's a big accomplishment. The building of the affordable senior housing units, including the Orange Tree Apartments on Robinson Street. The rebuild of the golf course clubhouse to a very proud, beautiful facility with a banquet room and restaurant. The rebuilding of the Oroville Airport FBO facility to a welcoming modern facility. Replacement of the major part of Oroville Airport plane parking aprons under some major grant funding. Removal of the problematic facility at 711 Montgomery Street. Yeah, we all know that one. Lost my place here, hold on. Installation of the safe routes to school sidewalks along Oradam Boulevard to Stanford Avenue, and installation of student safety crossing signs. Completion of the traffic safety improvements at Bridge in Montgomery, Table Mountain, Nelson, Cherokee Road, Orange Avenue, Acacia, and Oro Dam intersections. Landscape improvements to the Montgomery and Highway 70 intersection. The success of the Brownsfield EPA grant program for Oroville, bringing $1.4 million here to this community to help develop our past older properties. Supporting the expansion of numerous Oroville businesses, including the current new, soon-to-be completed Walmart Superstore. Supported new equipment for public safety with vehicles and necessary equipment, upgrading the electronic communication capabilities and improving the public safety incident information access to our citizens. We supported the municipal law enforcement program, increasing service to citizens. Supported upgrading the city website and achieved the ability to have any citizen with internet access see all the city financial records through opengov.com software. Supported and improved the remodel of the city council chambers into a modern meeting room with power presenters and electronic voting. Do y'all remember what we had met in here before with? It's a pretty nice room now, very nice. Supported the Southside Myers Street improvement engineering plans for streetscape business enticements, including underground of utilities. Also approved the agreement turning the tall levee radio tower from a liability to the city to an economic city income asset. And proposed the city ordinance to include the vapor nicotine devices, which did not fall within the tobacco rules, and it was allowed that our children could actually purchase those items. We were one of the first cities in the state to actually do that, and we became a model for the rest of the cities of the state with our ordinance on that issue. Approved the agreement with the Welcome to Oroville sign that was dilapidated, falling apart from a liability into the new modern electronic signboard, providing an economic asset to city income and to our business community. Worked extensively on the general plan with a clay pit, vehicle recreation area off Larkin Road, state parks, and then worked with Fish and Game on the upcoming improvements to the Ray Road shooting sporting range. Supported the Supplemental Benefits Fund, finalization of the plan documents necessary to put the goal of economic and recreational prosperity for Oroville region from the State Water Project. And we sought approval in replacement of the municipal auditorium air conditioning and kitchen upgrades, and then supported the master sanitary sewer collection system for our city collection system. Now, in concert with my fellow council members, again, I want to give credit to Phil Chen Wilcox and Alan Simpson, who were all with us at the same time we did these many things. We also serving the last 8 years together. My new challenge is to the new council to meet our past accomplishments and exceed with new improvements to our community with policy direction, participation, and good luck to you all.
Thank you, David. So the next outgoing council member that I would like to say a few words about is JR. So once again, I was a new mayor 6 years ago, and this is my 7th year. And I don't think he knew me at all, really. He probably knew the family, but he didn't know me. So, you know, JR has that little exterior side of him that looks kind of like he might bite if you get too close. But he's really just a big old love. And one day, you know, I was trying really hard and I was really nervous, and being a new council member, I really feel sorry. When Linda Draper said her stomach was queasy all day, so was mine. This is not something that goes away, especially on these installation evenings. But JR knew I was nervous, and I tried really hard, and he used to always walk out this way. Well, then one day he walked out by my chair, and he goes, "Good job."
That's awesome.
And he did that until he probably realized I didn't need it anymore. And, you know, he doesn't use email. I think he still has a flip phone, cell phone. And do you even have internet? Do you have internet? But here's one thing about what he does that we should all be proud of, is he takes all of the material and he reads it. Word for word, page for page, which is something that is kind of a lost art. That's one thing that he does. So with the technology that has taken over a lot of our world, he still gets all of his stuff in his mailbox, and he comes down here to pick it up on a regular basis. And he has some of the unique questions that maybe I didn't see. So the appreciation that I have for this guy is that he was that person that read and caught all the things that maybe I didn't catch. And I appreciate that about him. And I appreciate the fact that he was supportive, whether he voted the same way I voted or not, he still supported what we did as a whole as a council. So I'm going to miss him as a council member. And with that, I'm going to read the proclamation.
Don't cry.
I'm trying not to, so don't push me. Don't you cry. Recognition for J.R. Whereas Alan J.R. Simpson has dedicated his life to the community of Oroville with distinction, demonstrating his willingness to place his concern for public well-being ahead of his personal interest. And whereas J.R.'s performance of the duties and responsibilities as a member of the City Council has been characterized by diligent and constructive contributions to all facets of the municipal government in our city. Whereas J.R. has advocated tirelessly for the betterment of the city's economic, public safety, infrastructure, and aesthetic development. And whereas J.R. has earned the admiration, that's it, and loyalty of all of those with whom he has come in contact, and with respect of his fellow public servants. And whereas J.R. has served the community with deep sense of devotion to duty and has been instrumental in numerous citywide projects. Whereas J.R.'s commitment to the city and to the community is evident given the years of service to the public. Now therefore, I, Linda Dahlmeyer, the mayor of the city of Oroville, in concurrence with the Oroville City Council, do hereby recognize J.R. Simpson for his loyal and dedicated service to the community of Oroville, and extend this expression of pride and appreciation for the contributions made by J.R. Simpson to ensure the future growth and prosperity of the city of Oroville. Signed this date.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. I even get my sign. It's great. I want to thank everybody. Everybody don't know as far as my family history and everything, but we grew up in Southside. I was a member of the Southside Fire Department for 20 years. I served on the Southside Fire District Board of Trustees for a few years. I also worked at the Oroville City Fire Department and retired in 25 years, and as well as been on the council. I have been involved, my family has been involved with the city and the South area since the 40s. So I'm with you guys as far as, even though I didn't vote for it, I'm with you as far as fixing up Southside. I really am. What I want to say is, our family has never quit a project or whatever, and my remark is this: I'm not done, I'm just taking a time out.
He gets the same nice plaque with the City of Oroville's emblem on it. So last but not least is Vice Mayor Phil Chan Wilcox. So a little story about Phil. Once again, I was a brand new mayor, and she had actually been on the city council for a while. And I did not know Phil. Maybe met her a couple, 3 times, but you know, as a brand new mayor looking for somebody to serve as a vice mayor, I really put a lot of thought into who I would want to sit by my side. And I wrote everybody's name on the wall, and you know, I'm a facilitator by trade, so it was just like, okay, so what about this and what about that? And so I went through the deduction of how I would go about choosing somebody. And ultimately it came back to somebody that could be your confidant, somebody that would be confidential with your life, with the things that you spoke about, but somebody that you could really trust. Because, you know, when you're in this situation, there's really only one person that you can communicate with. If you communicate with 2, you're really starting to get in muddy waters. So I didn't know Phil very well, but what I did know is that her uncle was my father-in-law's best friend in 2nd grade. And if you think about that, almost 90 years ago, Chinese and white people, I mean, we've had this conversation, so she and I can talk about this up here. 90 years ago in the city of Oroville, best friends. And to this day, her loyalty to the Dahlmeyer family because of her uncle is still there. And even though I didn't know her, and even though she probably maybe voted for other people, I still chose her because ultimately I knew she would have a loyalty, if not to me at first, at least to the Dahlmeyer name. And ultimately, in the 6 years, it turned out to be the best decision that I probably could make. Because of her temperament, because of her kind demeanor. And she served as my vice mayor very well. And I appreciate everything you've done. With that said, I am going to read the proclamation that says the same thing, but it's all the same because you know what? We've come together up here. I say in the past 6 years, we've really come together and done a lot. As Councilmember Pittman stated, the things that we have accomplished is because we sat down early on and made goals, and we said this is what we want to do, and we were in the right place at the right time for grants and the opportunities. So the proclamation, recognition, and appreciation of Phil Chan Wilcox. Whereas Phil has dedicated her life to the community of Oroville with distinction, demonstrating her willingness to place her own concern for the public's well-being ahead of her personal interest. Whereas Phil's performance of the duties and responsibilities as a member of the City Council have been characterized by loyal and fair contributions to all facets of municipal government in our city. Whereas Phil has promoted and advocated for the betterment of the city's economics, public safety, infrastructure, cultural, and aesthetic development. And whereas Phil has earned the mutual respect of all of those with whom she has come into contact, as well as the respect of her fellow public servants. Whereas Phil has served the community with dedication and loyalty and has been instrumental in numerous citywide projects. And whereas Phil's commitment to the city and the community is evident given her years of service to the public. Now therefore, I, Linda L. Dahlmeyer, Mayor of the City of Oroville, in concurrence with the Oroville City Council, do hereby recognize Phil Chan Wilcox for her loyal and dedicated service to the community of Oroville, and extend the expression of pride and appreciation for the contribution made by Phil to ensure the future growth and prosperity of the city of Oroville. Sign this date. And as Dorothy said, and I'll miss you most of all.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know, members of my family came to Oroville in the late 1860s. So I'm second generation born, but fourth generation to live here. And prior to my becoming a member of the council, I was on the planning commission for 17 and a half years. So I've been involved in what's been happening to our city for a long time. I will kind of miss being up here on the dais, but then, you know, Councilmember Pittman and I have decided that we're going to run a concession in the back with popcorn. And also, you know, like Councilmember Pittman, with his long list of things that have been accomplished while we were on the dais, you know, sometimes it's really difficult to make decisions with what's best for our city and our community, and not what we would personally want. But that's what we have managed to do. So, like Linda said, we didn't know each other prior, but our family history goes a long ways, and I think we've come to respect each other, even though we didn't always agree, but we agreed to disagree. So, thank you very much for the opportunity to allow me to serve this community.
And as it may come as a great surprise to you, we have these lovely gifts that staff bought. And as a disclaimer, I'll steal Don's thunder. City funds were not used for the purchase of these. Staff contributed to these. We have lovely jacket for you. And in the spirit of Bill Lagrone and being a man of admittedly some words, I want to make a comment about Vice Mayor Wilcox. In the summer of 2010, when I became the city attorney, on my first day here, as I'm learning everybody's names and where they all sit and I'm being introduced, Phil pulled me aside and said, listen, if you ever want to know about what's going on in Oroville, I'm happy to tell you. But what I thought was most interesting was that she said, she sort of stopped and paused, and then she said, Oroville is a special place, and you need to always remember that. And I've never forgotten that comment, and I've always tried to do what's right by the council and by the city, with the knowledge that Oroville is a special place. And I want to thank you. I will miss you greatly on the dais, and I hope that keeps you nice and warm whenever you're serving in the Chinese temple, because we don't have enough money for the heat.
Thank you. Is red because I requested it. And let's see if I can say this right. My people believe that red is a very good color.
Okay. Welcome to the dais, everybody. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 3, the selection of the vice mayor. As I stated, I'd like to make a nomination for Scott Thompson to serve as my vice mayor. And it's somebody I think that I could have as a confidant and that would serve the position well for the next 2 years.
Well,
You can
and I appreciate that. But being a new council person, I think that there's a lot that you're going to have to learn in a very rapid pace, and to get to know the feel of the city and all the requirements that go on in the different way the city functions. And personally, I don't have a problem with Mr. Thompson. I don't know him other than meeting him here today. But in this case, I would think that to serve the people and to make it flow easier, at least for the first year, we would be better served, or the public would be, if Jack Berry was the vice mayor for the first year anyway. This is a yearly thing, and we vote on it every year, and that gives everybody, the new people, time to get up to speed. Absolutely nothing against the new people at all whatsoever, but I just think that it's going to be enough of a chore to get up to speed at this time.
Actually, I was a new mayor 6 years ago, and I think I've done a pretty good job. And I know there's 3 new council members. Janet is in the queue, but there's 3 new council members. And just because you're a new council member, I don't believe that you should be penalized. You run as a mayor separately, and I was a brand new mayor and had not served on the city council at all. So I believe the nomination to have somebody that I'm already familiar with and have confidence in. Janet, you're in the queue. And there is a motion.
There is a motion.
I made a motion to nominate.
I second that motion that we accept the recommendation of Scott Thompson as the vice mayor.
We can take a vote, or we can do the charter. Just to be clear on this, so here's how this has been done for eons and eons, is the mayor nominates and the city council approves the nomination. The charter is very weak on the language of this, and in talking with Scott Huber year after year, not only does the charter need to be changed, but it's just ambivalent. So it's, if you had to choose somebody to spend time with, and you could only spend it with one council member, I did the deduction, and I went through every council member, and this was the option that I came up with at this time. And there's a first and second on the floor, and voting's open. So, does everybody know how to use the voting machine?
I just had the wrong one.
Are they working? Yeah. Okay. So, I nominate Janet.
Oh, wait a minute.
I second that.
This motion did not pass.
Yeah. Motion didn't pass. It's clear. Everybody sees it. Council saw it. Public. So I made a nomination for Janet.
Okay, well, when I just,
So-
wait a minute.
Okay, so here's how this works. The rules of procedure are clear. When a motion is made and it's seconded, then we can have discussion and then we can have a vote.
Which
There
we
was
did.
there was a motion and a second, I believe, and then we had a vote. It didn't pass. So now we have the ability to make another motion and another second, and we keep going until we have a majority of the council that selects the vice mayor in the affirmative. Let me read what it does say. It says, there shall be, the charter in Article 8, Section 1A of the charter provides, there shall be a vice mayor who shall be appointed by the city council to hold office at the pleasure of the council. The appointment and removal of the vice mayor may be made by a majority vote of the council, which requires at least 4 affirmative votes. So it is open for nominations. Mayor, I believe you made another motion. I haven't heard a second, but it's available for seconds or for alternate motions. This procedure is entirely up to you. Whoever wants to make a motion or a second can certainly do so.
Okay. Well, I already made my motion the first time, and then, so.
It wasn't seconded.
Right. Well,
So-
it never was brought up for a second, but go ahead.
Okay, well, but again,
Right.
There's a motion on the floor.
I
made a-
second it.
There's a first and second for Janet Goodson to serve as the vice mayor. All votes are in. Does anybody wish to change their vote? Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
Thank you. We were gonna,
Oh, I need my chair. I need my chair and my,
congratulations to Janet. Okay, we had item number, we have one other item to go over. Well, actually, we have a couple, but that was moved from the consent calendar. So I'm going to keep a couple of new people next to me so I can help guide them too. And Jack will be good for Linda down there. Okay. That's what she's saying. Moving on to item number 3, if you recall, moved up from the consent calendar. This item right here. Consent calendar. You good? Approval of the city's formal meeting schedule. This is something that I speak of from the dais on a regular basis, and with 3 new council members up here, I would like the input. I believe our city council meetings start too early for people that have jobs. I believe it sends a message to our community that only people that are retired can hold the office of a public servant. There are times that this even starts at 4 o'clock in closed session. I know that there are people even on the planning commission that actually have to take vacation time to show up. I believe as it is our responsibility as council members to view that and make changes when necessary. I myself, my office doesn't close until 5:30, but I think starting the meetings at 5 o'clock on a regular basis does a disservice to our community. That's my personal opinion. I know several people that serve in these seats are retired, but we can't just think as a retired community. My opinion is they need to at least change to 5:30. And I see Randy Chapman actually out there. I mean, you serve on some of these committees too, and they're just at some odd hours in the day that most people could not make. I would like to open this for discussion because it's something that we need, and mind you, we can change these meeting times, and this is really more for the city council meeting at this time, but changing them from 2017 forward at least to starting at 5:30 would be my vote or nomination or motion, but I don't want to put a motion out there until we have a discussion on this. And it's open for discussion. So now here's what you do. There's a request to speak button, and if you want to speak, your name shows up in the queue here, and I call you by queue. And it keeps the background chatter down. Come on, speak up. You guys campaigned hard. Somebody speak. Councilmember Draper and then Councilmember Thompson.
I can't see any reason not to make it later. And if it would help some people to be able to attend, I think it would be advisable to do that.
And what time would you recommend? They used to start at 6 when I started. Closed session was at 6. Open session was at 7.
I think 5:30, like you suggested, would be good because sometimes the meetings here have gone on for 3 hours.
Right. Oh.
And if we start too late, we'll get out of here really late. So that's just my opinion on that. But
Councilmember Thompson, Councilmember Del Rosario, and then Councilmember Goodson.
I think it'd be a great idea to make the schedule to accommodate more people in our city. So whatever time is a little bit later that we work for the town, I think it's a great idea. So I'd definitely be in favor for that.
Councilmember Del Rosario?
I concur with Linda that 5:30 is better. Sometimes I haven't gotten out of here till 10. We need to, if we extend it beyond that, it's going to run too late. We need to either set an earlier time or at 5:30 or make sure that the agenda doesn't go on longer.
Well, my goodness. She wasn't here during the beginning. 11:30, 12,
Yeah.
midnight,
Thank goodness.
then pie at Cornucopia. Councilmember Goodson.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this item up. I really appreciate it. One reason, unfortunately, I have not joined the ranks of being retired, and I do work in Paradise. And so there are times when my meetings do run rather late, an extra half hour, if nothing else but for safety reasons. I would really appreciate that time change.
So, Councilmember Del Rosario, are you still in? But it's actually this queue, right? There. Jamie will change it. You're still showing up as Del Rosario here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. It's unusual for the mayor to make a motion, but on these first meetings you do, and when you're talking about.
Oh, I'll make a motion for you. I move that we move our meeting time from 5 to 5:30 for closed session, 6:30 for open session.
And I'll second that.
One moment.
Just
John,
for
Mr.
clarification, I
President.
was just asking for clarification what we were talking about, closed session or open session. Again, a half hour for closed session may not be enough time.
No.
I said 6:30 for our regular meeting.
Okay. Which I think would be perfect.
Yep.
There's a first and a second, and we're going to open voting.
First was Mayor Dahlmeyer, second.
No, Del Rosario
Seconded.
and Draper. And you two, your votes are, if you're both voting yes, or you push that button and she'll push this button. All votes are in. Does anybody wish to change your vote? Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
All All right, moving on to regular business. There are public hearings, there are none. So moving on to regular business. Now, there's appointment to committees tonight, and I'm making appointments to 3 committees. I'll be making appointments next time to some other committees. Some of the committees, we have over 31 committees that we make appointments to. We're trying to scrub that down a little bit and make some of them not so much appointments. I'm trying to at least combine some of them, and they just get out of hand, because once again, if we meet here at 5:30 at night, well, with 31 committees, it's 9 o'clock on a Thursday, it's 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, it's 2 o'clock on this day. So I mean, it can really take its toll not only on us but staff, because if staff is assigned to find out something about why we need to be at the committee. So tonight I'm making appointments to the Supplemental Benefit Fund, the Oversight Board, and the Housing Loan Committee. For the Supplemental Benefit Fund, I will continue to serve on that, and I'm going to appoint Thompson and Draper to that fund. On the Housing Loan Advisory Committee, Draper and Goodson. And on the Oversight Board, Councilmember Thompson. And this is for a 2-year appointment.
Is that a motion?
It is a motion for all of them.
Yeah, it needs just for clarification, this does need a motion, which is made by the mayor. It does need a second and then a vote as well, because it's approved by the council.
Anybody want to second?
I second.
Anybody wish to change your vote? Voting closed.
This motion has passed.
All right, moving on to item number 5, and this is like by fire, you guys. So, selection of the 2017 Samuel J. Norris Award for Excellence recipient. You will have received some paperwork ahead of time. Jamie confirmed to me that y'all had the information to read up about the people.
Mayor,
Yes.
I didn't fill out a blue slip, but I didn't see one back there.
No,
but-
Bruce, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do it yet, Jamie.
But I would like to speak before you guys voted, because I advocate for Stu Shaner. He was a longtime member of our community, and he, was very instrumental in the Veterans Memorial. And so I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Who are the choices?
Do you want to read the list? The nominations that we received were Frank Belzer, Jim Christensen, Lauren Gill, Alberta Tracy, Bud Tracy, Sean and Lori Pierce, and Stu Shaner.
How's your stomach doing?
I'm better.
Good.
worst
How are you
case
doing up
scenario
there?
already
Good?
happened.
You doing good? You got Bill Wilcox's chair. The recipient for the 2017 Samuel J. Norris Award is Stu Shaner. Thank you. Was I supposed to announce that?
Yes.
We have yes.
We used to keep it secret, and then that just became too hard, right? Okay, so now we're going to move on to council announcement and committee reports. Since this is the changing of the guard, there might not be a lot of committee reports. But anybody have any reports?
I don't have a report, but I do have a request that we, on the next agenda or as soon as possible after the next agenda, include the sphere of influence study for lower Oroville water rates, so that we have the opportunity to vote on, let's see.
Well, you need a couple. This might not be.
Yes, please.
The time to. You need a couple people, or you ask the mayor.
Yeah, I have the support of Linda Draper. So there are two of us requesting that something be put on the agenda.
Okay.
Yes.
So the lower group needs the sphere of influence, the city needs the sphere of influence report approved so that we can make sure whether or not this is something that is even feasible for the area. And as we all know, we want this done as soon as possible. So that's why we're asking to be on the next agenda.
So I'm not, is this the sphere of influence is this the report that is actually being done? The city is just the vehicle through LAFCO?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, we'd already talked about it, and it is going on the agenda, I believe, on the 1st of February, isn't it?
Currently the staff has direction not to do anything about it, so the staff needs direction if we're going to bring it back to the council. So,
which is why we're asking if it could, if at all possible, could it be on the next agenda?
It depends on what the staff report. This is not a question and answer time, so this is fill out a blue slip, Jack, if you want to speak. And go ahead if you wanted to say something.
Oh, just that the city and its townspeople have been paying an enormously high, one of the highest in the country, water rates, and it was a huge voting decision for many people. I made sure of that, to be honest with you, and we really want to make sure that it is something that is addressed as soon as possible, and that LAFCO be because we really would be on the cutting edge. I mean, there's only a handful, or I think like 2 or 3 cities in the country who have been doing what we're working on, and it would just be a wonderful thing if we could really like take that first step and make sure that it's something feasible for our area. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I've actually, I'm on the LAFCO board, so I deal directly with LAFCO about this conversation, and it wasn't necessarily that it needed to go through the city. So I'm trying to figure out how this came up.
Why does it need to be through the city?
Yeah, but this isn't the time for the question and answer. So
got it.
Call me after, and we can talk about it. But we certainly can put it on the agenda, but I don't know what we can do about it unless there's actually a report. But it looks like Jack is going to talk to that. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, Jack Kiley. What we're actually looking at here is a municipal water review of the water situation for the whole greater Oroville area. And we've, You're on score. We've recently just approved a $100,000 study to
Right.
make sure that our sewer system meets the growth for the next 30, 40 years.
Right.
We also need to do the same with the water, and that you've got 3 water companies which we're aware of in that. So we need an independent study to be done in appropriate places done by LAFCO. But somebody has to request
Right.
that LAFCO do it, and that would be that the city would be the appropriate one to request it. We have a donor that is going to put
That's
up
right.
the
So
money
this- yeah.
to do the study.
Thank
And so
you.
that's what it is. It's not just this deal about picking a fight with Cal Water or anything. We need to make sure that when businesses come to this community for economic growth, that they know that the sewer services are available, that the water services are available at the most economic rate. What is the best way to serve the overall area in water?
Mhm.
So that's what the study would do. So that's all you'd be requesting is a study to be done, and that would be something that if it gets on the agenda whenever you
Right.
decide to do it. So it's a municipal water survey. The sphere of influence would be done by either South Feather when they do they're the ones that do the sphere of influence. So there's a little difference in the sphere of influence, but the water study would dictate pretty much what the sphere of influence should be. So that's all we're asking for, is to do a study. We're doing a study on the sewer. We need to do a study on the water.
So, and I understand that, so it's the same conversation that I've been having with the LAFCO board. It's the same conversation that we've been having at LAFCO. They just need an entity to request it. My only concern is that this will cost more than the amount of money that the donor is willing to pay.
Well,
And that would be,
according to Scott, he thinks it's only going to be half that amount.
okay.
So
This, Scott?
Oh, no, this Scott doesn't,
I don't do
this
this
Scott doesn't
Scott.
engage in that.
I mean, Steve Lucas.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Steve Lucas, excuse me, but Steve is the one that says, yeah, the study, and it shouldn't be, it could be 15, 20. It's not a complicated thing. They look at
Right.
who has the water, who has the availability to serve.
So I would like to see this back on the agenda. We've talked about it. We do need a vessel to bring it through, and the city, talking with Steve Lucas, is the one to do it. And having this done sooner rather than later, because it really is just a formality to have it on ours. So, Dawn, if you could talk to Steve about how to word whatever it is we need on the agenda to make this happen, and talk to the right people to make sure the donor's ready to put that in place.
Yep. So,
And also, I would think that we'd better be very careful of what we put on this agenda for this item, that we don't obligate this city to something, because some people tried this down south just recently and they have a $12 million attorney fee. So I'm not real sure why we have to get involved in this from a private company and that, why the city needs to be the conduit. I don't know what LAFCO, why they seem to think they want that. Is it some protection for them? And then if it does come to this council and we move forward on this, exactly what are we binding ourselves to as the next step? If we're gonna, go eminent domain, or just how far does this council really think that you want to go, and how much money do you think you have? Because you're gonna find out real quick, you don't have the money to do this.
Right.
that is far down the road before we get to that stage of where it is. All we're doing is to study how this area, who has the water, who can best serve the water, and do that. This is the appropriate way. That's why you have LAFCO. Otherwise,
Everybody knows who has the water.
Because Cal Water doesn't even have a franchise to do business here. You could probably, as a council, tell other people to run pipes or something in here, but that's not what we're just trying to get. What would, if you were to do a study on how you could best run the whole water system for this? We have an abundance of
Madam Mayor.
water here.
Madam Mayor.
So I don't want to take any more of your time.
This is actually committee time. It was not brought up at the right time, so it's going to be on the agenda.
That's all.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay, thank
Staff
you.
has direction. Scott, do you need to say anything? Nope. Good. Yep. Staff has
Okay,
direction.
thank you.
To bring it up.
City administration reports. Anybody? Chief LaGrone, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's with sadness that I report to the council that we lost one of our VIPs on Christmas Day. Mr. Alan Blagg passed away. He had served us since 2002 as a VIP. He had been a very loyal man and a good man to the community. Just to give you a little background on Alan, he graduated high school in 1955, moved to the Oroville area. He worked in meat packing in this area. He was a lifelong learner. He actually graduated from, or completed 4 semesters at Butte College in 1998 after his retirement in computer, guess he was figuring out how to work the thing. He was also a honorably discharged veteran of the U.S. Army. So I just want to take a moment, recognize Alan, thank him and his family for his service to our community and our city, and just let's not forget him.
His service is Friday, January 6th at the local Ramsey Funeral Home. His wife said that he's in a quiet place now, and I'm requesting that his badge be retired to his wife after his long years of service.
Is that a motion? Do we need to motion that? I mean, there's.
Yes, I would like to move that.
It's not on the agenda, so we can't, so I mean, it's,
Yeah,
I'm asking,
that-
it could
that's-
just be done.
It can just be done as a consensus item.
Thank you.
That's fine.
His badge was number 2.
Thank you. Chief Legrone?
Ruth?
Ruth?
you have anything?
So, is it next council meeting, Ruth? That you're actually going to have a presentation about where we stand on the budget?
I was asked to bring something the next council meeting about where we are. We have had a lot of positions vacated, retirements, and so we just want to see where we are as a structural imbalance still there. Are we closer to zero? We just want to visit that next meeting.
Thank you. So just to be aware, anybody that wants to come sit through another meeting, that's what's going on. We're actually she's going to go through some numbers that we see on a regular basis, but where we stand today, where we stand in 3 months from now, how many employees are there, how many are frozen positions, and come July 1st, what will the picture look like when we start a new cycle, new year? Mr. Russ.
I have one item. I'm going to bring a staff report on the 17th regarding replacement of iPads, whether we're going to use tablets or iPads. The iPads that you're currently using that the city owns are not able to be updated anymore, so they need to be replaced. So again, we have the technology cost recovery fee that is going to do that. Also, it's going to provide a monitor for Jamie for the new camera system. Today is the first council meeting that we don't have anybody in the closet.
Right.
Okay, so our cameras are operating now, but Jamie needs a new monitor for that. And then also, we're going to see if we can't fix the fan or replace the unit above Mr. Hadley. So with that, I will have that all in the staff report.
So, Councilmember Hatley, if that fan, because it has been looked at, I know, would you do better on this end?
I like it right here.
Okay,
And that's all I have. Thank you.
okay.
Madam Mayor, if I might, very, very briefly, you all have a copy of a letter that was sent to me by AT&T UVerse. AT&T has a statewide franchise to operate video services in the state of California. It expires in March of 2017. They have recently reapplied for another 10 years. A copy of that was attached. There's really nothing for us to do other than to note that it was sent in.
Can we complain about their other services in our community?
You certainly can do that as long as you can do that either as an individual, or if you would like for the council to do that, then we can certainly do that. Take a look at the application, and we can have that discussion if you'd like about how to go about doing that.
I mean, we have
Issues.
I mean, when our own police officers' radios go out when it rains, when Catalyst Domestic Violence Center phones quit working when it rains, when half the businesses downtown can't do business because the infrastructure is so bad, somebody needs to write a letter to the CPUC and tell them. And I believe the city of Oroville should be behind that letter.
To my knowledge, I will review this, but to my knowledge, this is only related to video services for AT&T.
I figured.
I hate to split hairs, and I know it's not. I don't disagree with anything you've said at all, but I just want to make sure if.
Can we write a letter? Can you put it on the agenda, or do I need to just?
I think we can just write a letter.
Just write the letter. Yes?
As long
Anybody
as,
else have
as
any
long as there's no
comments?
objection by the council, we can just write a letter.
Is there an objection by the council to address the issues that we have with the AT&T services in our community?
Now, the only issue would be, it's gonna be on Don's letterhead with Don's signature. If you want it signed by the mayor, it would need to come before the council. So if you want it out right away, Don's your guy.
Well, I think
Up to you.
I'll sign it. I think having the mayor or the council signature on it is important. But if it has to come before the
Then let's,
council,
we can put it on the agenda for the 17th.
okay. Thank you. Okay, so we accomplished quite a bit this evening, didn't we? And everybody's cold now. All right, correspondence, there are none. Hearing of individuals on non-agenda items. I don't have any blue slips up here. Does anybody wish to speak? Talk and leave? Talk and leave? Come on up, Carol.
Since I'm not terribly shy, I just raised my hand. I just want to tell you all, you're still going to see me. I was here for Thiel because she's my super, super good friend, has been for years and years and years. But whatever you do affects me. I don't live in the city, I live in the county. Your decisions affect me. So when you do something, think about me because I'm going to still be sitting out there.
I am so glad. I always love to see your face out there. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, we've been into closed session, so I think this is
Close
it.
with the memoriam. I'm sorry, Alan Blagg. Alan Blagg, I'd like to close with a moment of silence for Alan Blagg, if you don't mind.
Madam Dover, sorry, totally appropriate, but we still have a public speaker.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hello, City Council and everyone. My name is David Goodson, and I am the co-chair for the Dr. Martin Luther King Steering Committee that hosts an event, a celebration event that has been in our community for well over 30 years, going back to the leadership under Anita Bell and our local churches. We have been carrying this on, and we'd like to invite the council to this event on Monday, January 16th. We'd like the council to be our guest for the community celebration event. It's a very joyful event. It begins at from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. There is a breakfast, a pancake breakfast that is served by Sheriff Garibaldi from Chico. And then from 10 to approximately noonish or so, there's a program with a keynote speaker. We will be having the rendition of the Dr. Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech. And this year's keynote speaker is a great surprise to the community. It's going to be the council-elect Janet Goodson will be our keynote speaker this year. And we're looking forward to this event and would love to have your presence. Thank you.
Thank you.
City Council.
Vice Mayor. You're just the, that's right. Okay, so moment of silence for Alan Blagg and all his years of service as a VIP in our community. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, January 17th at 5:30 p.m.